about getting out the vote, and it's not terribly glitzy or new or controversial, but it's where it happens. And we need to go home and talk to twice as many people that are here about not just at what's at stake in this election, but excitement about it. I've been traveling a lot over the last weeks with one of the presidential campaigns. And there people are all hyped up. But when I stand at the side during the speeches and say, well, what are you hearing about the gubernatorial race? Do you know what I get in response? Well, not much. Now that not much is a bit to our advantage. Because now we're organized. We know what's got to be done. We have our center here in people who know how to do the one-to-one retail campaigning. We are running even in polls, and it's time for us to charge. And we need to do it with vigor and energy, because there's not much buzz out there for anyone, and it's ours to take. Did you see the poll this morning? A Democrat can beat Mitch in the fall. Did you see that? Always thinking that an incumbent is vulnerable is a little bit like hopeful thinking. An incumbent has so much at their disposal to use, and the amount of money he's got is just awful. But if ever there was a sitting governor vulnerable, it is this governor now. I know all of you have 3 billion things to do. If you're in leadership like you are, you didn't come here because you were just hanging out today. Some of you are going to do the laundry today because you work all week. Some of you have kids that need your attention, and you've been putting it off for the weekends. Some of you are looking at this delicious gardening weather and just salivating to get out there. 3 weeks, folks. And we can control what happens to working people in Indiana. And we need to get rid of it. Now, I am concerned about nationally. And I have been working a whole heap on a national candidate. But I said to them the other day while standing there, I've been hanging out with you guys, and let's face it, that's pretty fun stuff to get to do, because it's a whole big system on those national campaigns. But I said to them, I tell you, I got to lay off, because what's more important to me is this governor's race in Indiana. And live with and watch every day and love and care about. And I love this state too much to see this guy stay in there and sell it all off to somebody else. I think it's important that we have a candidate just like Jim Schellinger. And here are some reasons. Not the ones we hear often about. Yeah, we all know he knows how to go to work in the morning and work at a tough job that doesn't have a lot of glamour attached to it. He knows that from his family. He knows that from his life. I'm not here to sell you on him. You're sold or you wouldn't be here on Saturday morning. I'm here telling you how I think it might play out and what we talk to our friends about. And instead of talking about who on the top here nationally, who do you like, who do you know, what do you think, what did she say, what did he think, I want you to start talking about why there's an add-on that has 2 people in it, Laura and Jim. Why is that? That sends a real message that, you know, we're all about families. We're all about building for people to learn something in schools and go to the churches that they prefer and to have decent places to have recreation and to enjoy the outside here in Indiana, to have a job so you can support all of that. And if you see 2 people who talk about their family and they're standing in their kitchen, you know pretty certain they're going to be standing in the kitchen at the state's living room too. And that is, you might think, well, you know, so what's a house have to do with it? So what's a house? I had to go through a lot of that thinking when they had the auction, sold everything out of the governor's residence, everything but about 15 pieces of furniture. And we all just sat by uninformed and let that happen. Why our heritage left that place we call the state's living room. But when I hear from some of the material, maybe you too, that people are always asking you, Jim and Laura, are you going to live in the house? It's an issue people understand. They know what a home means to them, and with all these home mortgage defaulting, people worrying about their homes or whether they can pay their property taxes. You think they're thinking about what a home means to them right now? I think so. And when they see this is a team, they're not going to be one guy who wants to sit outside and watch Desperate Housewives. I'll never get over that comment. She didn't go to a debate or something because she's watching Desperate Housewives. We don't have to worry about that because we know there's somebody who realizes everybody in our state needs to be brought into the discussion. And everybody needs to be part of what is leading that discussion. I think that ad plays well. Here's another thing. Some people have said, well, what does an architect do like Jim Schellinger? Well, he designed school buildings. Is that good or is that not so good? I want to tell you, I've decided that is just what we need. Think about your own homes. Sometimes you've had an architect, but other times you've bounced it off maybe a friend who had experience in doing something in a building when you needed to do something. So you're talking to somebody. And what do? You tell them how you're going to use the building, right? You're talking to a kitchen designer or an architect. You tell them, well, I cook a lot or I don't cook much. This is how I use the kitchen. This is what our family does in the kitchen. This is what we don't have now that we need. This is what I can afford. This is what I'd like, but I don't have the bucks. You tell them how you live, don't you? I imagine when he has gone to clients and whether it is a home or a school, he's asked them, what are you going to do in this space that we are together building? I imagine that you've heard school teachers, you have heard superintendents, you've heard parents, you've probably even been fortunate to hear kids who say this is what we need in our building, but here are the constraints we have. We can't have that big auditorium we really want because of money. How can we do that if we also need a gym? He's listened to people and he's figured out what is doable in a realistic world, what people want, and how we're going to get the doable to what they want, and where those opportunities are. Isn't that what a governor does?
Yes.
So